All right, and then here we have some more people in the waiting room that I'll let in, and I think we're just about ready to begin. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Trinity Alps Chamber Music Festival, to our next digital concert today. Today is, what is it, March 14th, of course. And, this time of year, I think all of us are thinking about how, it's been a year now since, the world turned upside down. Um, I wanted to say a few things about what the festival has done over the last year. This is our 20th digital concert. This is number 20. And I feel like that is something of an achievement. It still is a little bit miraculous that we're able to do this and that it's still happening. In these 20 concerts, we have featured 66 different performers playing their own sets of music. Our audience count by registration is over 2,000 people. And keeping in mind that many of people who register have multiple people in the household, two or three people watching, that puts our total audience count, above that, obviously. Additionally, during the past year, the music festival has started a grant program to help musicians make the conversion to digital performing and teaching. We have given away over $5,000 in grants to 10 different musicians over the last few months. And I don't expect that to slow down, even though hopefully things are opening up again. All of this is great. This is great. I'm so happy that we've been doing this. But of course, it's not, that's not to diminish what we've all been through. I mean, it's kind of impossible to gauge the effect that this has had on lives for musicians like us. We've been through, you know, we've lost such a good chunk of our career, not just sort of financial setbacks, but we've missed out on opportunities. There's so many things that could have happened this past year that didn't. And, I think perhaps more than anything, it's hard on our souls to not be sharing music live in person and experiencing these same sound waves together in the same room. But nevertheless, here we are doing our best to make it work. And I'm so grateful to all of you for being here today and for supporting this festival and these musicians who you're going to hear. Before we get into the music, I wanted to introduce all of our performers. We've got Laurel and Jen up in Boise, Idaho. Jen, it looks like, has a special friend who's joining her. Hi, Jen. Yeah, does your
There we are.
cord?
Now we're not muted. This is Fergus, and he's very photogenic. And I wanted to introduce him at the beginning because he will be a little wild man, and I need to put him outside so he doesn't interrupt the concert. But there he is, Fergus, the not exactly corgi.
Okay, well, Fergus doesn't understand how mute buttons work, right? So I'll let you put him where he can have some fun and not interrupt the music. Laurel and Jen, we will hear from at the end of the program. Nice to see you. Also joining us is my friend Matthew Boyles on the clarinet. He'll be doing the middle set, but I wanted to give him a chance to say hi. Hi, Matt.
Hello, everyone.
In Oakland, California. Everyone will hear from Matt a little bit later. And finally, I'll introduce you to my friend and colleague, Ryan Loweth. Ryan, as you can see, is a guitarist. He is here in San Francisco. Ryan last joined the Trinity Alps Chamber Music Festival in 2016 and 2017. We did a series of school programs where we went to schools all over California playing sort of kid-friendly musical programs. We commissioned a composer to write musical accompaniment to Rudyard Kipling's Just So stories. And we had just a blast with Ryan and several other musicians of different instruments touring around and playing that program for thousands of kids. Now, Ryan is going to join us for some classical guitar. And we thought it was just a nice way to kick off this early morning daylight savings concert with the soothing, beautiful sounds of classical guitar. Ryan, would you take just a quick moment and introduce yourselves a little bit more fully to our audience?
Sure, yeah, I'm Ryan. I'm from Northern Virginia originally, near DC, and I've been in San Francisco for about a decade, actually. I came out here to study at SFCM, like a lot of us who've been on this program have. Ian's one of them. And yeah, so I'm still teaching and performing a little bit over Zoom these days, but like Ian said, it's a little bit slower. Um, So should we get into just the music then? What I'm gonna play?
Absolutely. So Ryan is going to play one piece for us. It is a sonata for guitar by the Spanish composer Antonio José. And I have to admit, when I first heard that he was going to play this, I didn't know the piece, and I thought, oh, some flamenco guitar, that's going to be great. But Ryan, as we learned, this is not the whole story, right? This piece is much more than just a little bit of flamenco stylings, right?
Yeah. So the this composer was not really, he wasn't a guitarist first of all, so he wasn't trying to do something super guitaristic when he wrote music. He was actually at the time that he lived, I think he was more known for choral works, and he was really into French impressionistic orchestration and harmonies, which you can hear in this piece.
Right. You were telling me this piece is from the 1920s, right?
Yeah, late 20s,
And that
early
must have
30s.
been just such an interesting time to be in Paris because music was just exploding in so many different directions. He probably had access to hearing jazz music, new modern music by composers like Debussy and Ravel. Coming from Spain, he probably also had a lot of experience in traditional Spanish music. How does that all come together in this little guitar sonata?
Well, so there are a few other sonatas that are kind of in the same vein, and if like by Joaquin Turina and Defia wrote some guitar music, they have much more obvious Spanish flamenco influence in them. This one is a lot more kind of that cosmopolitan Paris kind of worldly composer. It's got some jazzy sounding chords that you would not hear in a lot of earlier Spanish music because they kind of stick to really basic major and minor chords. Um, and then the forms are pretty different than you would expect from a Spaniard. They're really they're more formal and they kind of are more French stylistically. So the first one's just a simple sonata form. So it's just giving you a bunch of themes to kind of explore, and it does some cool different things with each one. The second one is a minuet, so it's just a dance in three, nice and light.
Right.
And then there's a pavane, which is probably the most French part of it. It's a very slow dance in six. That's something that Fauré or Ravel would do a lot. And then the last one's a rondo form kind of finale, and it incorporates a bunch of themes. Actually, what I just realized the other day was that it incorporates all the themes of the first movement, but it does it backwards. So
Oh, nice.
you get
So a little
rondo
bit of a
theme.
circular form. When we get to the
Yeah,
end, we hear echoes of the beginning again.
yeah, it ties it all together.
Well, that's nice. Okay, so this piece is in four movements, and I think it's about 20 minutes of music, right? So
Yeah,
we've buckled our seatbelts, we've set our clocks to the right time, and we're going to look forward to this performance. Thank you so much, Ryan.
yeah. Thank you.
Bravo.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Ryan, thank you so much. Wonderful performance. Thank you for sharing that piece with us. I see what you mean when you described it as kind of a collection of different styles all jumbled together. It really does sort of capture the spirit of 1920s Paris. Bravo.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's see. Do you have anything else to share, or should we hold off on that until our Q&A at the end of the program today?
I can wait till Q&A.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Ryan. And just wanted to say again how much we enjoyed working on that project a couple years ago, where we did the Just So stories for all of the kids across California. I think more classical guitar is always going to be the answer. All right. Thank you, Ryan. Now, next on the program, it is my pleasure to introduce you to my friend and colleague, Matthew Boyles. Matt is a clarinetist. He's been with the festival many times to our summer programs. And Matt was also one of the musicians in our Just So Stories program, where we toured around California schools and did How the Elephant Got Its Trunk and How the Camel Got Its Hump. And Matt played not only the regular clarinet, but he played the bass clarinet for those performances, and also the kazoo and the slide whistle, right?
That's right. I forgot about those other instruments.
Well, thank you, Matt, and welcome to the program today. If you don't mind, would you give your own little, just very brief introduction to the audience, just to fill in the gaps on your life and adventures in music?
Yes, absolutely. I'll do a quick recap because there are many adventures that I've had in music. But hello, thank you all for being here. It's so great to see you all here. I've been out here in the San Francisco Bay Area for the last, oh my gosh, 7.5 years now. And I met Ian early on in that, actually, where we were playing some chamber music up in Napa Valley, and just have continued this relationship with being part of the Trinity Alps Chamber Music Festival, going up, playing the Just So stories along with many other concerts as well. I currently am a substitute musician with the San Francisco Ballet, and I teach up at a El Sistema music program in San Rafael. So that quickly catches you up on where I am currently.
Great, thank you so much. So I know you have a couple of pieces that you're going to share with us for your program today. What are you planning on starting with?
Yes, I do, and I'm starting with a very nice little piece by Telemann. It's one of his 12 Fantasias. This is the third one, and these are originally for the recorder. Now, I know Ian had mentioned I played kazoo, slide whistle. Recorder is under my arsenal of instruments that I can play. However, the technical abilities that Telemann asks from these Fantasias, which you will hear in a moment, definitely exceed my own capability on the instrument. So I took it upon myself to play it on the clarinet, which is a common thing to do. You know, generally the wind instruments, or specifically the clarinet, we have plenty of solo repertoire to choose from. However, it's all mostly in the 20th century. The clarinet wasn't really established, the modern clarinet, I should say, wasn't an established instrument until around Mozart. He kind of discovered it, and then afterwards, you know, people used it in orchestral chamber music things, but it wasn't considered a solo instrument until the 20th century. So we often will steal from Bach violins, partitas and sonatas, cello suites even from Bach. And Telemann is another one that we will often go to in times. Telemann's a little bit easier transcribing wise, because for Telemann's wind music, you know, he takes into the fact that wind players need to breathe. If we played a violin sonata from Bach, we have to add in our own breaths, and then it stops the music and it kind of cuts it up in ways that don't really make sense. We have to interpret it to make our breaths work. So yeah, this is why I'm playing some Telemann for you today. So like I said, this is a Fantasia. It has 5-ish movements, 5 rough movements. There's a largo section. Each of these movements are quite short. A largo section to begin the piece. Very nice vivace following right afterwards, jumping right back into another largo section, another slow part. It's very reminiscent, kind of echoing back to what you just heard from the beginning. Another vivace, another fast section right afterwards, so he's contrasting the slow and the fast, slow and the fast. And then finally ending with a very nice jig, which is a dance movement at the end. Something very interesting that Telemann does to help with the solo instrument, help fill out the sound basically, is he uses these techniques by arpeggiating chords, playing a note of a chord all together, or having very large leaps, which again, my recorder playing, I cannot do some of these leaps that he has here. And even on the clarinet, they're quite acrobatic. So that's just a brief little look into the fantasy, and I'm very excited to share this with you today.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Bravo.
Bravo. Bravo. Yeah.
Great, thank you so much. Yeah, so each one of those 12 pieces has its own unique little um, well, playfulness to it. But yes. So moving on to my second offering today is a piece called Three Etudes on the Theme of Gershwin by Paul Harvey, a British composer. These pieces, and so these pieces, as the title says, they're etudes. And etudes are normally something that we spend hours on in the practice rooms, just refining our technique and other aspects of our playing. But sometimes the etudes are just so virtuosic or so musical, so performance-based that we just have to share it. And so these three pieces are examples of that. So the three movements that I'll be playing for you today of these etudes are titled I Got Rhythm, Summertime, and It Ain't Necessarily So. So these are all works, etudes, that are based on these themes. Now you will also hear quotes from other themes of Gershwin, so do listen carefully, but I'll present to you now these three etudes on the themes of Gershwin.
lo que le dice.
Was that it? Nice. Bravo.
Yay!
Bravo, bravo, bravo.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Thank you.
Wow, that was fantastic. I think it's kind of charming that you told us that was intended as an etude, as a bunch of practice pieces, right? Because they have so much character. That's amazing. Wonderful.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Too good not to share.
Yeah, well, thank you for the performance, Matt, of the music of Telemann and Paul Harvey's Gershwin Etudes. Fantastic, fantastic. Again, I want to remind everyone that Matt and Ryan and everyone will be available for a live Q&A after today's program in, 20 or 30 minutes when we're done here. It's also my solemn duty as the director of the Trinity Alps Chamber Music Festival to remind everyone that this concert, like all of our digital concerts and like basically all of our live concerts as well, is being presented as a free and open event. And this is something we've been doing since the festival started in 2011, making our concerts 100% accessible to anyone. Instead of charging a ticket price, we want to welcome people and just have them experience this music and to share it. On the other hand, it is, like I said, it is my duty to ask that you consider supporting us at some level. Any donation you make will help us keep offering these programs, will help us keep supporting musicians like the performers you're hearing today, and like the performers we heard on our last 19 digital concerts. If you would please go to the Trinity Alps Chamber Music Festival website and make a donation of any amount. You can choose your own ticket price. I mean, this is like the best of all worlds, right? You can make a donation online using the website. There is also a mailing address. If you'd like to send mail the old-fashioned way, you can send us a donation in the mail. I like receiving mail the old-fashioned ways, so that's a great way to do it. If you are interested in a tax-deductible charitable contribution, there is a donation page specifically for that. It'll go through one of our fiscal sponsor organizations so that you can get the charitable contribution. And this kind of thing really keeps us it really sustains us musicians. We need to keep the gigs rolling just to keep our bills paid and everything. And your support really is going to matter with that. So that is my job as the director, directing you towards the donation page. And now this brings us to the last portion of our program, where I will introduce you to my friends and colleagues, Jennifer Drake and Laurel Talley. Hi, ladies.
Hello!
Hey, all right. We are ready to go. Thank you for your patience, and I hope that you are inspired by a little bit of delicate classical guitar and some jazzy Gershwin riffs on the clarinet. I wanted to introduce my friends Jen and Laurel by telling the audience a little bit about how we met. Jen and Laurel are coming to us from Boise, Idaho, and the three of us have been regular guest artists at the Fairbanks Summer Arts Festival. So that is where we met, in Fairbanks, Alaska, during summer programs that have been running in Fairbanks over the years. The three of us were guest artists and doing chamber music together and playing with the orchestra. And we've had just such a great time, traveling the wilds of Alaska. And so now I thought it'd be nice, since we are doing our programs on Zoom, to feature, performances from other time zones. So welcome our Mountain Time Zone representatives.
All right, here we are. Yay! So you as an audience, we have a job for you. We've been doing many of these concerts, and many of the most fun part about being in a concert is when you get like that response from the audience. So if you'd like to go and make your very own applause sign for us. You can find something around there. Maybe you step away from your puzzle for a minute or your tacos and make a sign that says applause.
Or
so
crispy high five. Whatever you want.
Whatever way that you would like to respond to this situation. It's great. So we've got a couple of pieces for you today. So our first piece is by Martinu, and Ian told me a fun fact that Martinu worked in a factory, which you're going to hear some of those industrial sounds in our performance. But my favorite fun fact about Martinu is that when he was a younger man, probably about in his 30s, he was at the Tanglewood Festival there in Massachusetts. And while at Tanglewood, he wanted to get out and get a nice breath of fresh air. So he went out on his balcony, where he immediately walked off the balcony, boom, cracked his skull, and had a big old concussion. And since that point, many of his compositions have taken on a really angular and unusual kind of format. So as you're listening, see if you can identify some of the concussive parts of this piece. So this is the first of 3 madrigals by Martinu. Concussion worthy. Totally. maybe a little different than something you were expecting here today.
Thank you, Hal, for that.
Other selection we have for you is a fantastic duo by Mozart. All the Mozart you were hoping to hear today. Laurel, tell us everything you know about rondo form.
So rondo form is a special musical form, and the best way I can describe it, you know that stray cat that you made the mistake of feeding that one time, and now the cat just keeps coming back and back and back? That's essentially what rondo form is. Mozart wrote such a great melody that he just wants you to hear it like 7 or 8 times, so he just keeps repeating it over and over again. So feel free, stay on mute of course, to whistle along by the time you've heard this theme 4 or 5 times, and enjoy this Mozart rondo.
I'm trying not to trip on my Ethernet cord on the floor.
Thanks, Internet.
Thanks, Internet. The Internet has brought us here today. Thanks, people in California, listening to us play from my living room. Wait, it's time for our traditional, there it is. There's the moose perspective.
Moose ears.
Okay, great, excellent.
Viola
Now we can
ears.
play a rondo. They're totally ears. right, good. All right. Well, there we are. 2 selections from Laurel and Jen.
2 peppy duos from Idaho. Thanks for listening.
Bravo, ladies. Wonderful performance. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I was hoping, just to kick off the final stage of our concert, the Q&A section of our program, I was wondering if I could ask the first question and ask you both to just introduce yourselves and your careers and your interests and your adventures in music. So many of our audience here in Trinity have probably never met you before. So, would you mind a little introduction?
Well, hi, I'm Laurel. I've lived in Boise now for 7 years. Actually, also grew up here for the most part. I now teach at the main high school, Boise High School. I teach the orchestra program there, and I'm really fortunate to live in a part of the country where kids are still very heavily invested in the arts, and it's what brought me back to this area of the world, and of course, fabulous musicians like Jen.
Why, thank you, Laurel. Well, hi, everybody. I'm Jen Drake from Boise, Idaho, and I've been in Boise for 21 years, count them. And I do kind of a broad variety of things, play viola in the Philharmonic. Laurel also plays with me in the Baroque Orchestra, and yesterday we got to tune down to 4:15. It was a super good time. And then I've done a wide variety of things, including a lot of chamber music. My chamber duo, Owen Nielsen from Darkwood Concert, is here today. So we've got some special viola. Yes, applause! Thank you. We're working on some viola bass oboe stuff that is super interesting, and what a great sound that is. I do that. I also conduct Sonata, which is the community orchestra of Boise, and the Boise Phil Youth Orchestra. So those are some of the things that we're doing here.
Great. Thank you so much. I could tell by your infectious enthusiasm that you have a lot of lucky students there in Boise.
Sure, that's one word for it.
That's a perspective.
Yeah, no, we have a great time. So there's plenty
I think they're lucky. I'm envious.
And you've met some of them before. You got to work with
I would be
Jocelyn,
in your orchestra.
so yeah.
Hand me a viola. I'll be in your orchestra.
That's right. It's a good time.
No, you want this one, Ian.
No, you want this one. Yes.
Okay, fine. I'll play the oboe. All right, now let's see. I've got all of our performers on the spotlight here. I would like to invite anyone in the audience, if you like, you can chime in with some questions or comments for our performers. A nice democratic way to do it would be to type it into the chat, but we have about 50 people on today. I trust us to be respectful Zoomers. If you'd like, you can also unmute yourself and chime in. And let's see, I've got the first question is from our friend Clifford Haig, and this would be, I think, for you, Laurel and Jen. He says, do violinists and violists coordinate their playing with, quote, sniffs?
We definitely coordinate with sniffs. There's definitely a lot of sniffing that takes place. So for sure, like, I'm not sure how audible any of the sniffing is here in my own personal house. Like, I've tried to make things as quiet as possible, but like, we've spent a good deal of the day trying to like wrangle the dog and whatever, so it's quiet in here, or like waiting for my husband to burst through the door. But so you might not be able to hear all the things because we've softened up some of the sounds in here, but definitely there's a lot of sniffing.
Lots of sniffing and lots of moving the scroll around to communicate, hey, you're going too fast, stop it, or whatever. Whatever the case may be.
I think that's great.
All right.
Cliff's question and that answer is sort of gets at one of the little trade secrets of chamber music. If you're ever sitting close to a group that's playing and you wonder, how do they coordinate playing exactly together? The sniff is a big part of it. You may not be aware of that. Next time you're up close and personal with a quartet, listen for those sniffs. Oh, what is a sniff? It's this.
Oh, okay. So, little shave and a haircut. Smell the rest.
I remember taking a class from a conductor once, and he said, breathing is such a it's such a deep, like, human experience. It's like very down there in our brainstem. All of us breathe so naturally that when somebody else breathes around you, you instinctively sort of match that. So it happens when someone does a big sigh, everyone else sort of instinctively goes that, if somebody yawns are famously infectious, right? And if a conductor is ready for you to play and he goes, you have a good sense of when it's going to happen because, we all coordinate our breaths to a certain extent. So I don't know. There you go. That was one reason I heard. Let's see. I have another question in the comments from Portland, Oregon, actually. Matt, that was one of the most pleasant multiphonics I've ever heard at the end of the second etude. I was thinking the same thing. Would you explain what multiphonics are to those of us who may not be aware of the term?
Absolutely. So I'm so glad that came across. I was a little worried about that because it does happen to be quite a soft thing. But multiphonics, if you break down the word, many phonics, sounds, so multiple sounds. The clarinet is used to playing one sound at a time. Right? So we do that, but we have the ability to play some multiphonics, like at the end of that one piece. It requires very special fingerings and very special voicing from up here in order to get the reed basically to vibrate in two different ways, or to get it to vibrate in that resonant frequency. So this note, or these notes, as you can hear, there are two notes there, a G and a B that I play on my instrument. But there are also many other fingerings and other examples, especially in these 20th century pieces that have these multiphonics. One that comes to mind, let's see if I can do this. Oh, sorry. No, maybe not today, but is what they normally sound like. Yeah. Hey.
Yeah, so Matt, Jen Drake could listen to multiphonics all day long. And she has.
It's a fact, yes. Oa is like one of the world's best bass clarinet players, and then he's now moved on to doing some things with bass oboe, so you should connect with him. He's super rad. Oa Nielsen.
Maybe we can. Oh, Nielsen, yeah. Maybe we can, because I know of a etude book, another etude book, one of these infamous etudes, that has a duet. Wait, what is it called? It's a 4-part chorale for 2 clarinets, where both clarinets are playing multiphonics and doing these 4. I know, right? Minds are blown. Man, that'll be for another time, though. Definitely.
Wow, thank you, Matt. Actually, that brings us to another question in the chat. Can we explain a little bit more fully the term an etude?
Oh, sure, absolutely. Yeah. So like I said before, etudes are generally virtuosic, or a study in a specific thing that you're trying to accomplish. For instance, you would have an etude based on articulation, where all you would do is just practice your staccato tonguing. Right, where for an entire page of music, or more at least, you would have that same pattern, varied in other ways to get around the instrument, just to practice your technique, that specific technique, across the entire range of the instrument.
Right, so, and they're etudes for all instruments too. They're piano etudes. There are hundreds of them. And to answer the other part of the question, they are written down, so they are not exactly improvised. Although the word etude itself is the French word for to study. So calling a piece of music an etude is kind of like calling a piece of music homework. It's not the most inspiring title for a concert piece. It's kind of it means that it's meant as a kind of a piece that is meant for practice more than for performance. But that being said, there are so many examples of great etudes that work really great in performance, and I think those Gershwin etudes are a good example of that.
The Gershwin ones are for sure. Chopin, Rachmaninoff, similarly, have very famous etudes that have been performed as well.
Yeah. Although I should make a little addendum to that, because, it's important to remember that all of these great composers that we've talked about over the centuries, the Mozarts, the Schuberts, the Chopins, the Gershwins, they were all actually great improvisers too. We don't really think about improvisation as something that classical musicians do, but all of the composers, improv was like a big part of their life in making music. So, nowadays we pour, classical musicians usually don't do much in the world of improvisation, but that's not to say that it doesn't belong there. It's just that, doesn't happen these days.
Right.
Too bad. Let's see. Did anybody else have questions or comments? You're welcome to unmute yourself and chime in if you like. We would love to hear from you.
This is Natalie. I was wondering if the ladies in Boise ever play in the Sun Valley, like the Sun Valley Symphony.
We don't get to play in the Sun Valley Symphony. They generally import most of that group from San Francisco. We've done some gigs up in Sun Valley, however, playing for weddings and funerals and random church services. So we've both been there, and it's a great place. So if you get to come on up to Sun Valley, we'll wave at you from afar, I guess.
They have a great summer institute up there too.
I have a house there. If you ever
okay.
Call me.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, I would love to put you in touch, actually. Natalie lives also here in San Francisco, and she has been a big part of the house concert scene here. So,
that's great, yeah.
I think a quartet concert in Sun Valley with...
Yes, we have a quartet, and we're hoping to...
A wonderful way to celebrate, everyone getting out again.
Yes.
I would love to put you guys in touch. I'll do that.
Okay.
Please do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our friend Christine Stenlund sent a chat. Thank you for the fantastic concert. I think that was meant for all of us. Bravo, everyone. Applause. Let's see. Anybody else want to unmute, chime in, show pictures of their cats? Well, thank you all for hanging in here today. It's been a great daylight savings morning so far. We're all, I guess, about ready to adjust. Anything else before we go?
Yeah, I wanted to ask Ryan if he specializes in certain styles of guitar when he teaches. Does he have a preference for teaching any one style, like flamenco or whatever?
I would be really not qualified to teach flamenco because classical guitarists learn techniques from flamenco, but there's whole song structure and improv kind of aspects to it that they're totally foreign to me. But if a classical piece has it, I'd teach those techniques, of course. But mostly I teach classical, and then a lot of rock, blues, and jazz, which is the typical stuff that students ask for. I'm not going to force them into classical, but I do like it if they go in that direction on their own.
What about folk?
Yeah, sure.
For some of us old hippies.
Yeah, I mean, I was doing Bob Dylan a couple days ago with
Yay.
someone.
Nice. Well, let's see. Anybody else here? Well, it's so far a quiet group, but that is okay with me. I saw lots of applause, and I heard it as well. And I want to take a final moment and thank you all for joining us, and just reminding you to keep in touch. You can go to our website or join our email list. I see my friend Jake Foley is here. Hi, Jake.
Thank you all. It was charming and lovely. And one question I would have for Matthew, I love bass clarinet. Would you remind me of which Copland pieces feature solo or pieces written for bass clarinet?
Oh, that feature bass clarinet. Well, there is Rodeo, the 4 dance episodes that have some very nice bass clarinet. But of course, Copland wrote a clarinet concerto just for the soprano clarinet, which is such a beautiful piece of chamber music, Ian Scarf, to play. It's written for a small chamber string orchestra, harp, and piano. It's a very beautiful piece.
Lovely. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Noted. It's on the bucket list.
Yes.
On the music festival bucket list. We have a question from Shelby Churchill. Is everyone preparing and excited to experience live audiences again?
Oh my God, yes! We can't wait.
Overwhelmingly, yes. We are absolutely excited. Goodness gracious. There's only so much that this gets you in terms of, spiritual sustenance.
For sure. And huge props to Ryan and Matthew. Isn't it weird playing these solo events in your house? It's the strangest thing ever. I at least have a friend over, where you're just, making happy, beautiful sounds alone,
Yeah, Yeah, well, I will say, my partner was here. She had to step out, but so that, she gets to hear me play all the time, though. So it's
Right.
Yeah, same thing here, but I have to be like, no kitchen use while I'm playing because this mic
Right.
can just pick it all up.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I put my dogs in the car. They think they're on a ride right now, so they didn't, run around the entire time.
Oh my gosh.
So
That's funny.
I used to be a performer of all kinds, and I know that performers thrive on applause. And a lot of non-performers, the audience, don't realize that. I'm always irritated when the audience gets up early so they can go get their car out of the parking lot before everybody else. And, they don't realize that, the applause is a really important part of the whole performance.
Absolutely. It's that response,
It's part of the energy for sure.
Very well said. Our friend Carol Masterson is up in Eureka. Do you have anything to add, Carol?
It's raining.
Hey!
Okay, well, we'll look forward to that in 2 days then. Thanks. All right.
We're sending it your way, right? Sending it
great, varied program. Oh, there's our cat.
Cat shirt. Applause. Right.
Nice.
We've got
more music fans. That's great.
Yes.
Let's see. Jake Foley, were you raising your hand to say something too? Or just waving? Waving goodbye. Waving hello, waving goodbye. Well, I am looking forward to live concerts, and who knows, maybe we will have the enthusiasm and dynamic duo of Jen and Laurel out in California sometime. Could be, right? Before we go, anyone else have something to add?
Yes, Ian, we are all live. We're just not in person.
Absolutely
an important
right.
distinction.
When's the next concert?
Oh, thank you, Maggie. Thank you. You're prompting me. That was exactly my next job. Our next concert is going to be Friday night, March 26th. I will update the website today or tomorrow with a new Zoom link, new registration. It will feature performances from our violist friend Stephen Fine, who will be live from Gainesville, Florida, not in person, from Gainesville, Florida. He will be playing Spanish songs arranged for viola and piano. We will also have a couple other special guests, and I might play Robert Schumann's Scenes from Childhood, which is a piece that I've been working on lately. Like I said, that'll be Friday the 26th, so almost 2 weeks from now. And I hope you can all join us then. Meanwhile, join the mailing list, which is on the website. Make a donation to support musicians, which is also on the website. And if you like, there will be a recording of this program that you can send to your friends so they can enjoy it later. I think we're all done here. So in conclusion, can you all please unmute yourselves and give our audience or our special guest one more round of applause?
Yay!
Thank you. Thank you.
Yay!
Hey!
Yay!
That was wonderful.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for
All
having
right.
Matthew and Ian.
All right, stay healthy, everyone. See you next week.
Tug, tug, tug.
Bye.